All right. I think I am live. If you are here watching on live, let me know. Please drop me a comment, let me know. And if you're on the replay, let me know. Hello, 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 beautiful ones. All right, so I wanted to jump on here today because there are some things on my mind and I just wanted to come on here and riff. And one of the things I want to say is sometimes, and this is something that's been coming up for me so deeply, is that, ultimately, this space, it literally is my space. So I can come on here anytime I want. I can talk about anything I want. And it doesn't have to have a perfectly parceled up in a bow ending or teaching. And I think that is so important, and to recognize that the process of untangling these things as we speak is really such an important thing for us to, in my own words, to decolonize the spiritual journey, because I think it's so important for all of us to understand that whatever that is we call a spiritual awakening or ascension or a spiritual journey is never ending. And so let me just pull up just to make sure that I'm here, I'm live, I'm good. And if you're seeing me, please let me know. I'm just gonna tune down the music. All right. Okay. So, welcome, beautiful ones. All right. So, I want to come on here today to ask you a question. But first and foremost, I want to share something that I'm seeing quite common around my clients and also in my own experience, okay? So, have you ever felt like, because you're now on this journey, on this path of becoming more and more self aware, that somehow it eventually becomes this really, it's almost like like the speed of your growth is so immense that sometimes you've got it today, and then the next day it's almost like, oh, that worked for me, but now I feel like that's no longer enough for me, and I need to. I don't understand. Like, it's like I really felt the effect of it, the power of it, and today I'm like, well, it feels like I need to really go a little bit deeper. I need to go a little bit deeper, but I don't know how to go deeper because I thought I've gone deep enough. So if you've ever been in that situation, I want you to know that I've been through that many times, and there have been times when I hear my clients speaking about, you know, I thought that was it. I thought that once I got that, then I would be able to feel like I nailed it. I would be able to feel like I've made it. And yet, it's this sense of like, huh, this no longer feels enough for me. And then, if you are not in a space of understanding what that is and actually leveraging that feeling, and stepping into more of who you are, you tend to be stuck in that sense of like, oh, does that mean that I need to go and chase for another high again? Or does that mean that I haven't achieved exactly what I wanted? And then your head gets into this tailspin of like, oh, now I feel bad and I can't even be grateful for what I already have. And because like I feel like it's not enough and I can't stop myself from feeling that. And then it's like this dog just chasing its own tail over and over again, right? So if you've been in that situation, please let me know. If you want to comment, share that with me. Hello, hello, hello. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me. Whoever that is, I can see an eye, but I don't know who that is unless you comment. But if you don't want to comment, all good, all good. I just want to say hello to you. So please, please, please know that I love you and I see you and I feel you. All right. Okay. So if you have already felt that way before, if you already felt like, okay, I thought this was it, like this is it, like this is gonna be enough for me, but why do I feel like there is so much more out there? Why do I feel like there is something out there that is waiting for me, that is requiring my presence? What is it, right? And I want to tell you this. I wrote a post a couple of days ago where I shared that, right before I crossed paths with T Spirit to be initiated deeply into the work that I do today, I was in a very pretty good place. I was very contented. I had manifested my dream job, my dream flat, my dream man. And yet, I kind of felt like I don't really know, there's something, but I don't know what it is. And, looking back in hindsight, I was able to write, and I'm going to share with you here today. If you haven't seen that post, that's all good. What I realized in hindsight is that it was actually a call to feel fulfilled. It was a call to go and deepen into what exactly is my purpose here. Because yes, you may have all the amazing things that you've always wanted in your life, that gives you a sense of security, whether it is a great job, a great flat, a great house, a great car, a great relationship, even, or several great relationships, several great cars, right? But the leader, the ones who hear me speak and gets fired up, the ones who really get activated when I speak about leadership that is truly anchored into love, a leadership that is truly here to usher humanity into the next dimension. Like, like you can say all you want that I don't know. I don't know. I just want to hide away. I just want to run off to the mountains and be a sage and drink tea and I'll be happy. But deep down in you, there is that stirring that it isn't enough to just do that. You feel that stirring because you know that you are meant to be here leading. Deep down when you feel that almost like this tapping inside of your belly, that womb space that is feeling that drumming inside of you. It's almost like this shaman's drum. I want you to know today, if you are hearing this, that is your purpose calling out to you. Because you're not meant to just stay here. You're always evolving. We are all of us are meant to be on an ever evolving journey. Sarah, I see you. Hi, hi, hi. So if you are feeling that right now, if you think, oh God, well, that means that, I'm not feeling satisfied. Does that mean I'm wrong on my spiritual journey? Or that, oh, am I getting into a chasing energy again? Am I getting into a place of running after one achievement to another? You and only you know this. So check in with yourself and really deepen into the connection within and ask yourself, am I actually chasing after something? Or is there this bigger purpose that I'm still tapping into? Now, I want to talk a little bit about that purpose because most of the time, when you start to really journey on with commitment and devotion to your purpose, there is going to be a tendency to have that sense of like, oh, I don't know if I'm stepping on someone's toes if I said this, or if I am saying the wrong things, or maybe the things that I'm saying is just so obvious that maybe I don't need to say it at all, you know? Or what if the things that I'm doing, what if the modalities that I'm sharing or the wisdom that I'm sharing is, you know, going to cause people to really hate on me, right? Like all of these are legitimately, let me just tell you personally, my greatest fears. Like they've been my greatest fears for the longest time. And I still remember like when I first started to share the work that I do, it was a very simple thing of just a very simple act of just sharing tea. For me at the time, I thought, oh, it's just simply, you know, just coming to tea ceremony and sharing tea as a poetry in motion, as something for people to quieten the mind and open their hearts. But what I received on the other end were just so many amazing women, gratitude. I used to serve to all genders, so I've come to a point where I probably have served over thousands of souls. But at that time, you know, I was so fearful that someone from the community was going to come to me and say to me, like, you're not qualified to do this. Like, you're not even, you know, like, what, you know, you're not supposed to be here. And for a long time, hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Please say hello if you're popping on. You know, I would love to see you. Um, you know, for a long time, I also feared that if I spoke with my mouth and my voice, that didn't make me the kind of meditation guru or the meditation teacher that people would want to know, because meditation is about quietness, right? But I eventually realized that it's become quite a little bit of a running joke by now, where I won't be able to speak to speak specifically and precisely of what I do in my tea ceremonies or in the activation spaces that I hold. Why? Because nobody has gone before me to do this. So I just want to share this because it's so interesting, how we all sometimes forget, like even for me especially, you know, when I first started to come into the space of learning and really coming into being an apprentice, into apprenticeship and into mentorships and all of that, you see the mentor doing what you desire to be, right? That's why you're inspired and you feel like this is the person who can activate me and teach me something and bring me deeper into whatever that is that you're looking for. But there will eventually come a time where you really have to come into deep knowing, or at least make a decision that you are going to lead. And you can also decide, I don't want to lead. I just want to be out there sharing my practice, going to host maybe weekly classes, weekend classes, and go home, and I'm all good and I'm happy, right? But I'm not speaking to that kind of people. So if you are those people, I love you, it's all good. But I'm here to speak to people who are leaders. And I'm here to really bring this conversation that I literally have every day with myself and my highest self, my divine self, my true essence. I have this conversation literally in silence in tea ceremony, where I ask myself, what is whatever that I'm doing today, is it on purpose? 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 Because if it isn't, then I no longer am an energetic match to the people that I'm meant to be speaking to. For example, if, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. So yesterday, actually Saturday, I'm going through, it's my menstruation week, so I tend to get really emotional. And so I was, in ceremony, and I started to feel tears coming, and I felt this great activation in my throat. It was like a lump in my throat, and I was trying to get it to move the energy through. And when I was moving the energy, my tears started to flow out, and it wasn't just tears. It was like full on choking, sobbing, and was like my whole body was racking and trembling with that the emotions that were the energy actually that were moving through me. While I was sitting there moving through the energy, a lot of purging was happening, purging of energy. And in the purging, I felt those very old residual energy coming through where I questioned, you know, who am I to be doing this work? How come I'm not even close to where I want to be? You know, who are you? You know, you're not deserving of the success that you have. You're not deserving of all the things that you want to call in. Like, whew, it was all coming through. It was all coming up to be seen. And once I was able to really move into a space of my vortex of stillness and start to transmute the energy, after the storm, when everything was cleansed and finally resting in stillness, you know what I saw? I'm going to share with you what I saw. I saw my wealth and my freedom being here already. I saw the girl who wanted to create a business out of her passion and her purpose, and her business has made 5 figures in less than 2 years. I've seen this in my vision, and I made it happen, right? With the co-creation, with the orchestration, the divine orchestration with the universe, of course. And I really had to sit there and feel into it all, because I realized that ultimately life, it's never been about always going after the highs. And whenever I feel like, oh, a next level is coming, it isn't about, oh, I need to achieve the high, but rather it is about how can I deepen my appreciation and my presence in the process of going into that space of creating what I truly want to create. You know, I want to share with you something that I read and I really, really love. When I was reading this story about how the Japanese in the ancient ages, they created and built tea rooms where they could retreat. And they retreat to find the source of inspiration for them to create art and poetry, and even for samurais to find that stillness in their minds so that when they go out there and create the strategies for war, it was coming from this anchoredness, this deep knowing that they're going to win. They're going to win no matter what. They know they're going to win. They know that when they're creating the poetry, they create the art, they know it's going to be so fucking good. There's no uncertainty in that. And so when I read about it, I read about how they used to build the tea rooms for tea ceremonies, where that's where they gain that source of reverence and tranquility and harmony with nature. And the place itself, the tea room, is no bigger than, you know, a room for 5 people. And it looks almost empty and minimalist and very austere, very austere. But this by no means mean that there was zero effort put into the room. In fact, it required the finest masters and the finest artisans to create the room, because these artisans need to have such an attention to the finest detail to create that atmosphere and to carry out the design from imagination to paper to concrete manifestation with such a precision. Because in a room like this, nothing can escape the eye. When you're truly present in a minimalist room like this, nothing can escape the eye, and especially and including the monkey mind, the way the mind plays tricks. Every touch bears a significance. Everything is made to be unsymmetrical on purpose. And this really got me thinking. I was thinking, this is so interesting for the recovering perfectionist in me, because I've always grown up with the conditioning that, to be good, you gotta make things super perfect as your mind thinks you can ever be. And that never works, because your mind's perfection is literally about perfection that is never good enough. So you end up feeling like, I'm not good enough. This is not good enough. That is never going to be good enough. That program I created is not good enough. The things that I do is not good enough. Oh, thank you. I'm so thankful you love this conversation. Thank you for sticking around. So the recovering perfectionist in me saw this and really realized that, oh my God, like my life, and I say this all the time, it's not just about perfectionism, but I really feel that I need to say this, is that I truly am so grateful of tea, because of how the way of tea as an art and self-mastery, self-cultivation practice has saved my life. Because as a perfectionist, I fell into many, many things that were not so good for me. I tortured my body through eating disorders. I wanted to perfect, quote unquote, perfect myself in a way through my body by torturing it, abusing it, bringing it into some kind of shape that is perfect, not in my own eyes, but on the outside, like what the external society thought is the perfect thing to be. And so when I really dive into the way of tea as a way of just sharing, and then reflecting it back into your life, is that my hope is that you understand that just like tea, our life is a lifetime's worth of exploration. We came to Earth and we forgot that it is an adventure. We started to put ourselves into little boxes of safety and illusions of security. We start to really believe that to be successful, we need to have this or that and this and that. And we start to believe that, well, it doesn't matter how spiritually cultivated I am, I just need to have material things to make sure I'm good. And people will think I'm good. And that's when it gets even deeper into the illusion, because people say you're good with this because you have more material stuff. So you start to actually believe that is true. You see what I'm saying here? Back in the day, and I'm speaking about when sages and mystics and healers and shamans wander about, and they had a very natural, harmonious relationship with nature. They had a very natural, harmonious relationship with their spirit and soul, because it's part of their upbringing, it's part of their conditioning, it's part of who they are. It's like school. They've been schooled that way. Now, today, we're living in a world where we have to, right now, intentionally tune out the noise. We have to intentionally come into retreat, right? This is by no means a bad thing. It means that we're finding our way. We're exploring our way to a life where we still remember in the cellular chambers of our deep unconscious memories. As spirits, we've come here many, many times. We've come here to live and live many, many lifetimes. So let us just take a moment and remember how profound and how connected we are to something that is so much bigger than who we are right now, this physical body. Because it is important. It is important because you have that in you, and when you're able to awaken that and harness and cultivate that, you come into balance. You come into this unshakable faith, this unshakable presence This is what we are required to be, to come back to remember. Because if we are walking this earth, it's like coming back to the conversation where someone said to you, well, it's amazing. You have made it because you have a big house and you have all the things that you want. Don't have to bother about spiritual work. That person probably never feels fulfilled. Never. Because there is a disconnection. There's almost this like outward look for answers all the time. Versus someone who has all the amazing things, the cars, the luxurious handbags, the big house, the retreats she can go on to anytime she wants. And she's deeply connected with her spirit. She is committed and devoted to deepening every single day in a way where she can continue to deepen her self-identification with the soul. This person probably enjoys her life. This person loves her life, even through the hardest days. And this is what it means. And I want to share an example so you have a context of it. I was watching this old interview with a singer, and she said an artist is meant to feel pain so that she can write about it, so that she can share the medicine through her song, through her melodies, through her words. But a celebrity is expected to draw a curtain over their emotions and not feel anything and just be like perfect. And then when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly it. We have been conditioned to believe that to be in leadership, we have to be perfect. We have to have everything sorted out. And if not, don't even bother. Don't even go there. But we are all leaders. And we can lead in the way we desire to lead. You can be a leader in the kitchen. You can be a leader in the world. You can be a leader online, doing what you love, and then go out there and just live a normal life. This is the leader that I'm interested in speaking to. This being a leader doesn't mean you don't fuck up. Being a leader, to me, I'm interested in working with women who desire to be the leader, who is an artist, who is here to share the artistry of living a fulfilling life. Someone who knows that as part of the ascension that we are all in right now is to live a real authentic life, to actually know that we are here to live an authentic life, because there's no other way than that to elevate our consciousness. You can't fake it. You can't. Just like with tea, you can't fake a good tea. You just can't. A really good vintage tea that is so rare is so good because it is rare. It came from a really old tree and it was given the love and the kind of artistry that goes on behind the scenes by people who really respect that tree and this art form. So I'm seeing this question coming in. Kaz, is it Kaz? Let me know what your name is. I don't want to get it wrong. Do you believe the two can be in harmony with each other? Are you talking the two? What do you mean the two? Do you mean the art and leadership? I don't even know. You have to let me know. Because I when I download and my transmissions, I just let it come through. I can't. Please let me know what your question is all about. And West China Tea, hello. I think it's my it's my comments that are lagging. Are you in the UK? Yes, I am. I am in Edinburgh. All right, baby. Let's get into the core of what I was supposed to talk about here. Thank you so much, Kez. I hope it's Kez. Please let me know if I got it wrong or right. Luxury and spirituality. So Kez is asking, do you believe the two can be in harmony with each other, luxury and spirituality? All right, let's get into it. So yes, I do. That's my first, my answer to you. I do. I am in Edinburgh. Yes. You love Edinburgh? Please drop me a DM. I love to talk. Kez, all right. So let's get back to your question. Now, I actually titled my live as When Luxury and Sacred Walk as One. So I love that you brought me back on point. All right, let's dive into that. So I wanted to come on here because I wanted to talk about luxury and sacred as one. Now, since I talked about the rare and vintage tea trees, I want to stick with that. What I feel, and I want you to drop into this with me as well, when I feel into the sacred, I feel luxury. And when I drop into the word luxury, I feel sacred. I feel like a lot of conditionings and the way it's been thrown around these days, obviously, the words luxury and sacred have been very much diluted. But I want to share what I feel, and this is the way forward that I want to light the way and call in the leaders who are interested in this work as well. When I see luxury, I see the sacred coming to life. When I see the sacred, I see luxury in it. That's why I say luxury and sacred are meant to be reunited. And we're here for this. If we come back to the topic of tea, I want you to feel into the energy of a vintage tea. For those of you who drink tea, you know what I'm talking about. A vintage tea is not cheap. A vintage tea is rare. You have to know the right sources to obtain this, and it can cost you an arm and leg. Let's be real, right? Some people buy tea. Actually, I do know quite a fair bit of people, and I'm starting to do that myself. We buy tea that are freshly produced and we store them away. We don't touch them. You could store it for up 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, and the older it gets, the more expensive it gets. This is the kind of luxury that I am interested in. This is vintage. This is legacy building. And this is an ever evolving journey, like I said at the beginning of this chat. What we must start to come back to and be interested in and committed to and devoted to is the ever evolving journey, whether it is cultivating yourself or building your business. Too many times we tend to get lost in the chaos. We tend to get lost in the noise, which is like, oh, I need to get a quick sale. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to sell a cheaper tea, or I'm going to sell a cheaper course, or I'm going to do this, do that because I need to make a sale. But what are you sacrificing when you're doing that? It's a real question. And I'm not saying this as a bad thing. If you want to sell cheaper things, there's nothing bad about that when you're an energetic match, that you're calling in the energetic match for cheaper things. But what if you sacrifice the sacred? What if you sacrifice the luxury when you're creating something that's meant to be sacred? What if you sacrificed the sacred when you're creating something that's in luxury, because that exists as well? Something could cost an arm and leg and there's nothing sacred about it, right? Best example is yoga that came to the West. All the essence of yoga was completely diluted when it first came. I'm glad to see people starting to bring that back into the conversation and into the practice. But it's also the same thing with tea, throughout centuries. Something that's a sacred art is now a beverage. It's in your bubble tea. It's in your tequila that you drink at the nightclub. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying this as a bad thing, but getting clear on what you're doing is so, so important, because it's the same thing with your own self evolution. You cannot say that you want love, for example, you want true, devoted love, and then you put yourself out there dating 10 people at the same time, and you're not even giving your heart, you're not even able to open your heart up to be loved, then you become an energetic match for people who are not ready to give you love. And that's why you're wondering, why am I not finding the right person? Because you are not an energetic match. You haven't opened your heart up. So how are you going to find that person you're calling in? And even if the universe gave it to you, you wouldn't be able to recognize it because you are not an energetic match. It's already around you. Remember, I always say this. Everything you desire is already around you. You just have to be an energetic match to see it. And then maybe you are like all of my clients, they'll be like, how am I going to see it? How am I supposed to be an energetic match? You become an energetic match when you are enlivened. So if we get into a deeper conversation, which is for another day, there are energy circuits in you that needs to be enlivened. And there are means to do that we get into the integration of mind, body, and spirit. We don't have to go through years and years of therapy to get there. No, no, no. This is energy quantum leaping. That's absolutely amazing. So if that's something for you, drop me a comment, let me know, DM me. We can have a deeper conversation about that. But today, I want you to know this. Whatever you desire is already yours. It's in the field. The reason why you can't feel it or you can't see it is because you're not ready for it yet. And that's okay. This is why it's a self-evolving, or this is an ever-evolving journey. Just like with tea. And that's why I love working with tea. When I work with my clients, we work in a tea ceremony all the time, where we take part in the stillness, where we take part in the very beautiful equation of alchemy, where there is the two of us, and then there is something about the space, that energy field that helps us to really cultivate a vortex of stillness. Then we start to drop in and quieten the mind, and we start to open our hearts. We open our hearts to start to listen. This is where stillness comes and allows you to tune into the source of inspiration that is here to propel you into the next step, the next level, right? That's why I love this work, because it isn't something that's here to tell you, okay, you need to do it this way, otherwise you're going to fail, or you got to do it that way, otherwise you're going to fail. No, it's about you attuning to your own frequency, to your own truth, and then finding the clarity. It becomes crystalline clarity in the stillness. And then you go out there and you take those actions. You be that fighter, you be that samurai, you be that poet, you be that mystic, you be that. That is who you are. So for me personally, it does not fire me up. I've learned this. It does not fire me up to have one-off sessions. And I had to really, really respect that and say to myself, okay, so that doesn't fire me up. What is good for me then? Oh, it's mentorship. Oh, it's really loving the act of walking with someone side by side, really, really caring for them, touching their hearts, knowing exactly all about what they desire, what they dream about, what makes them tick, what can we do to bridge all of that so you can have the most beautiful connection with your soul and evolve in a way that is not a big, gigantic struggle. That's what I feel so purposeful about. And so I had to really drop in and deepen into some of the things that I really had to go through. Is that, I tend to feel like, oh, maybe someone won't like it. Maybe somebody would say something bad about that, and then pull back and not do it. But what I really learned, and I've decided for myself really, and I do this every day. I check in with myself, by the way, guys. I'm human. So I still do this. I have to check in with myself. It's like, is this worth doing? Is this still who I am? Is this deep knowing still true? Is this deep knowing still who I am? Right? And that's when I finally know, okay, I still love this. I know this is going to be true. I know this is going to help so many people. And whatever I see out there in the external world today is not going to affect who I am, because I know this. It's like what I said at the beginning of the chat. It's like all the people who practice tea, we're going back to as early as Imperial China, Ming Dynasty, guys, like Tang Dynasty, Song Dynasty, the Zen monks who first carved their way through the mountains. These people knew who they were. They were living in a time of uncertainties. War could break out next day. But they still built their tea huts. They still had their spiritual connection. They still knew who they were. And it is so profoundly linked and connected with the act of the way of tea. Why? Because it helps them to drop into a place that they cannot find in the external world. Because it's never been about being out there in the world. Everything out there in the world is a reflection of what's in us. You see? You see that? Do you see that? I find that so beautiful, because that means we can bend time and space through the cultivation of our inner knowing. Because this is a reflection of the reality outside of us. So we cultivating our inner reality is going to be reflected in our outside reality. And we can be in this peaceful harmony where the sacred is never lost. And in the luxury that I mean and speak about is this sense of, I can see every one of you. I can be present with every one of you. And my relationship with every one of you is ever evolving. It's a legacy, right? It's like when we think about luxury, think about, like, for example, let's bring it back to modern times. Chanel is a legacy. It began in the 1900s. Even more so, all the amazing fashion houses that began time in 1800s, right? It's a legacy. That's why it's luxury. They never lost that sacred sense of who they are. They never bend and stoop to the expectations of what others want. Hey, lots of people were probably standing outside of the Chanel house and saying, please have a sale, please have a sale. But they never did. They never will, right? They never would, for now at least. They are in a very good hands. But you know what I mean? It's like we have to be so clear about how much we are here to give, and give it from the sense of, like, I know who I am. I know what I'm about. Versus giving because it's someone's expectations, or you're fearful that they would go away. So thank you for sharing your time with me. I just want to say this because I'm not going anywhere. I'm here for legacy leadership. And to me, authentic power is the highway to elevated consciousness. And I really profoundly believe that a true leader is here to elevate consciousness. Whether it means that you're going to speak about something someone has not heard about, you're ahead of your curve, or you're here to speak about something that is going to break the taboo, or you're here to speak about something that is going to break the societal norms. And I believe that if you're still here and you're tuning in and you're listening to me, you are a multidimensional leader. You know in your every fiber that the way the world works, it does not have to always be the status quo. And I spoke about this earlier today in my story in Instagram, that we tend to forget what those art, that masterpiece of art that tends to stay with us, that moves us, they are all really current and ahead of their curve. They moved something in the people and still moves through the centuries because there was something that was current, that was applicable to the time that they were living in, and it's timeless. It's a statement that is timeless. So it is something we all have, but we got to get in deep. We have to go so deep and be truthful and let our truth shine. That is the most important thing I want you to take away. You got to let your truth shine. Whether you are being critiqued today, because tomorrow and the future, they will remember you. And if nobody carves the way now, then nothing will change. We're not here to wait for someone else to change the world for us. We're here to do it. And the time is now. It's already happening. The question is, are you going to come in and join? Join the light leaders. Be the leader that you are. Right? So before I end, I want you to just drop in and come with me and imagine this. As you reclaim your authentic power, feel in your body how that power feels like. As you drop in and really feel into the power and really feel into how it would feel like when you reclaim deep, unwavering faith in yourself. Start to see yourself now as you have that reclaimed, that you are creating from a place of joy and confidence. No matter what's going on outside of you. Maybe one day you wake up and your lover or your relatives or your child is having a bad day, but it doesn't faze you. It doesn't change who you are. You just create from that confidence every day. And as you do so, your presence and your being, the way you lead your life and what you stand for, starts to also influence everyone around you. They start to see the way you conduct yourself. They get into your field and they feel something that is so unwavering and comforting and assuring. And that starts to inspire them. They get inspired by the way you are giving so generously. They are also activated by how you can, like, wow, she can actually do it all and have it all. And so they start to get really activated by how you can balance that with receiving all the abundance and success with so much gratitude and presence of mind. You're not on the phone while you're on holiday. You're not, crying in your car while waiting for your child to come out of school. You're just happy. You're just grateful. And you're always present. You don't get called away by work because you have your own schedule. You do your own thing. You fully trust. And they get curious. And then they start to ask, what are you doing? What is it? And they start to emulate you. Maybe they pay you to be their mentor. Maybe they're working with you. Maybe they're always with you. To get inspired, they listen to you. They take your advice. And they also start to become different. And now they are influencing everyone in their circle. You see that? And the more people in the circle, they start to get lit up. More people are lit up. They're receiving the goodness of what you have been giving. They also have the capability now to give back to you. Maybe one of them very much far removed in the circle, they get lit up and they start to feel into this energy, and then they're on Instagram one day, and then you see they see your Instagram and they're like, oh, this is someone I want to talk to. This is someone I want to be my mentor. I'm gonna contact her right now. I'm gonna pay her. And when they pay you, you receive generously because you're also receiving and giving in equal balance. Because you're standing as the embodiment of luxury and sacred as one. You're giving everyone your presence of mind. You're giving every relationship is so precious. And you're already seeing their highest self even before they even knew what highest self means. You are treating every being sacred. You get what I'm saying here? You're feeling into that? And this is how humanity begins to rise. As the humanity in each one of them, each one of us rises to meet our divine self. We are also here to give back to the world as much as we are receiving all the goodness coming our way. This is how the new era of all of us are moving into feels like. And it is true. I feel it, you feel it, you know it's true. And we cannot get there if we are still self-sacrificing, still judging, still stuck in fighting ourselves, fighting others. We can't get there with that. The only way through is authentic power and love. Love for yourself, love for others, love for all of us. And I'm just so blessed to be able to do this work alongside the guidance of Tea Spirit. This is why I love this work. So much of what I can't say in words can be transmitted through the ceremony, through tea. It is a long-standing tradition for a good reason. It is still applicable today. You feel me? I'm just so excited. I can talk forever. So I'm gonna wrap today. I hope I've answered all your questions. If I haven't, just feel free to drop me a DM. I'd love to hear from you. And obviously, I want to share today all of the goodness that I've shared because I really am here. I'm not resting on my laurels. I'm here to call you out. You are a leader. You're meant to be here to make a difference. And yes, you can always decide that, no, I'm not. I'm just gonna run off into the sacred woods and just sit there and kumbaya all day. That's all good. But I'm here to work with multidimensional leaders who are here to really flesh out their cosmic magnificence, who you are when you're deeply connected with the divine, and bringing that as a legacy here in this dimension so that we can all ascend into the next dimension with so much sacredness and this true profound knowing, this deep authentic truth, vintage. We are all here to be that. Thank you, Kaz. Kaz is saying such a wonderful reminder of legacy, sacredness, and luxury. Let's change the definition of luxury as we know it today. Let's remember this ever-evolving journey. Let's remember the bespoke touch we can give when we own the truth that we are all sacred. Let's bring the sacredness back to luxury, so that they can be reunited. So if you're into this kind of work and conversation, if you're into this kind of really deepening and get that wisdom enlivened within you so you can carry this work out there, I invite you to drop me a DM. Let's have a chat. I have a couple of spaces opened in my 3 month, 4 month, and 1 year mentorships. And I also have the Quiet Revolution, which is a great place to start at just £999 per month, where we have all these conversations and we have all these transmissions and also a space for ceremony. It is truly, truly, truly so divine. And I can't wait to see you there. All right, beautiful ones. Thank you for being with me and sticking with me. I love you. Drop me a DM if you have any questions. I'll love to hear from you, and let's take it from there. Big love. Bye bye. See you soon.